My lyrics are catastrophic, punchlines and metaphors leave you stiff like catatonics. Your thoughts are microscopic, your reality's a dream. My words offer freedom, so respect the Elohim. Spit the truth through the verse, let it spread like a virus. I offer you the cure, you know the sons of Osiris, architects of life, and it was written in the papyruses. So know who you are, so you never lose sight of. Call him King Blitz, the most gifted and prolific. The name symbolized meaning like it was written in hieroglyphic. I learned from the wiser man, I'll teach you about the higher man. How to manifest thought and connect with your pineal gland. For my people on the corner, duck it one time. For all the people on the block until the sunrise. Tell them, let the sun shine, let the sun shine, let the sun shine. Yeah, for all my people on the corner, duck it one time. For all my people on the verse, I kick in one rhyme. Tell them, let the sun shine, let the sun shine, let the sun shine.
Now, to make this interesting, this is my first time putting together a video like this, so rather than just put pictures of me just talking for the next 10 minutes, I tried to break it down and interject and put videos in there so you guys can see what I'm saying and get the message across from there so we can understand these things, because there's only one race, as I stated, it's the human race. So with that being said, we have to put all of the stuff in play. And we have to go back to the beginning. Only at the beginning can we find truth.
Anthropologically, Dr. Leakey went to find the origin of man. Where did he go? Africa. Did he find the origin of man? Yes. Who did Dr. Leakey say was the first man on the earth? Did he say it was a white man, a yellow man, a brown man? Who did he say it was? Black man. So the white anthropologists agree, right? Wait now. How many of you have ever studied biology? Raise your hands high. Don't be bashful. Come on. Okay. Thank you. Now, there's a man in biology. His name is Mendel. He's a Caucasian. I never met him. But Mendel was studying the genetic makeup. And Mendel said, dark skin is dominant. Light skin is recessive. Dominant means strong. Recessive means weak. Mendel said light eyes are recessive. Dark eyes are dominant. Then Mendel went on to say, you can get the recessive from the dominant, but you cannot get the dominant from the recessive. What was Mendel saying? That if two white people were the first people on earth, we never could have come here, because the white man cannot produce a black man. Now look, if the white man does not call himself a native nothing, are you listening to me? Who's the Native American? Whitey's not a native. Who's the Native African, or so-called African? Come on. Who's the Native Asian? Who's the Native Australian? Who's the native of South America? If the white man is not a native nowhere on the earth, that means he's not natural to the earth. Then the question must be asked, where did he come from?
For a discovery which may surprise you, scientists have found that most of us still have a little bit of a Neanderthal inside us.
The Neanderthal, that beastly evolutionary outcast, thought to be extinct for 30,000 years. But scientists believe they've picked up the trail of that hairy historic reject in the most surprising of places. In us. Many of us, anyway. There is new evidence that humans inherited up to 4% of our DNA from Neanderthals. The study in the journal Science is based on painstaking research into 3 Neanderthal bone fragments. Scientists reconstructed the Neanderthal genetic code and compared it to modern humans from across the globe and found there was up to a 4% match with humans everywhere but from Africa.
This is a skull of a modern human, and this is from a Neanderthal. Look closely and you can see that this one has a slightly longer brain case. Most scientists believe that these are 2 separate species, and there wasn't much interaction between the 2. But now we know there was interbreeding, and that all non-Africans living today are part Neanderthal.
Now, some of you may be shocked by what you just saw in this video. Some of you may be a little bit confused by what you heard at the beginning of the video with me stating that there's only one race, the human race. Now, I'm getting ready to drop some knowledge on you guys, and this is universal truth. So what you guys are going to slowly understand, and the Bible is absolutely accurate when it says in the beginning there was only one man, one woman. These were the first people on the planet that were blessed with melanin. And we'll be getting into that later on into the segment. And from these 2 people sprouted all races. I'm going to say that again. From these 2 people sprouted all races. So that goes for 52 Blades. That goes from anybody else on the planet who is of the human race. Now, does that mean everybody is from the human race? No, and I'll cover that later once we get you guys more caught up. But this isn't about black superiority. This isn't about white inferiority. This is about universal truth and understanding that everything has a balance. You guys are slowly going to understand about the Moors and why the Moors are important and where the Moors come from. They're part of an ancient system called the ancient Gnostics, the keepers of the truth, the people who studied in Kemet. And you're going to realize what they did. Everything in a universe. What is a universal law? Every action what? Creates an equal or greater reaction. And you're going to understand the Moors and why they're going to be so important in our study coming up, because you're going to understand what the Moors did to these people. See, they programmed you and enslaved your mind to think that all people came from Africa from slave ships. This is the biggest lie and the biggest cover-up and the biggest myth that there is, the fact that all black people in America came from slave ships. You're going to figure out about men named Benjamin Banneker and how they learned these science and these studies. You're going to figure out about the Quakers and where they learned this information. I don't use the term Illuminati because that word does not exist. I use the term elite to describe this small group of people, not all white people, but this small group of people. You guys have got to understand this, who are trying to hoard information and suppress the rest to keep this knowledge. This is what this is about. It's about coming into right knowledge. It's not about race. This has nothing to do with black, white, yellow, brown, green, orange. And this is what we're going to learn.
Tired of this hurt, they say darkness is where evil lurks, yet evil can't hinder freedom. It's the power of will, fear none. Besides your enemy, I fear none, because the sun burns within me. I don't need the sunshine, I emit the light. I embrace my sight.